Hello everyone, Mango Basketball here. I'm going to take a look at Game 1 of the Rockets-Warriors series. The first quarter was characterized by a shootout between James Harden and Kevin Durant, each ending the quarter with points in the teens. The Warriors guarded Harden mostly by switching on the pick and rolls. This is pretty much what the Rockets want, and they capitalized in the first quarter with Harden scoring 12 points and 7 field goal attempts before getting subbed out with 3 minutes remaining. I should point out that one of Harden's 12 points came from a free throw after Draymond Green got a technical foul for shoving Harden. As much as I like Green's intensity, it is a double-edged sword, occasionally ending in plays like this. Anyway, a lot of the switches were onto Stephen Curry and Kevon Looney. Harden took advantage of these switches by isolating them and attacking. Option 1 was to go for the step-back 3, which he did a lot. Option 2 was to go to the rim and either go for the layup or dish the ball to the open man. None of this is particularly new, and this is pretty much how the Houston Rockets have been running their offense the entire season. Now, let's talk about Kevin Durant, who had 13 points and 9 field goal attempts. In terms of height and length, he's a walking mismatch, and it's rare to see someone his height with his athleticism, as you can see here on the dunk. Aside from the transition dunk, he had one three-pointer as the trailer in transition. Everything else was a mid-range shot from an isolation or post-up, or the one floater in the beginning that was blocked by Clint Capella. Other key points for this quarter include the poor transition defense of the Rockets. I think PJ Tucker did a good job on Durant this quarter. All of Durant's shots in the half court were tough mid-range shots, and if they're going in, there's not much more you can do. I also want to point out this possession in the first quarter. Durant gets a mismatch with Chris Paul. James Harden comes over for the double team, leaving Klay Thompson wide open in the corner. Klay Thompson ends up wide open several times throughout this game. The second quarter begins with the Rockets again attacking the mismatch, many of them with Chris Paul matched up with David West. Although Chris Paul did a good job shooting threes over West, whenever he made a pass to someone on the bench unit and put them in a playmaking position, they failed to convert each time. For example, Baamute attacks the closeout well in this clip, but fails to dish it out for what should have been an open three. This is a good segue into how the Warriors bench unit ran their offense. In contrast to their reliance on Durant's post-game in the first quarter, the early second quarter was defined by off-ball movement and smart passing. I was actually quite surprised because a lot of their baskets were either layups or open threes. Take a look at these possessions. This is the off-ball movement that made the Warriors such a massive threat in the NBA. On the other end, I was surprised to see Chris Paul occasionally having mental lapses on defense, giving Nick Young a wide open three here, for example. At this point, Harden checks in with Ryan Anderson at center. Harden proceeds to put up 12 points and 5 field goal attempts, and 4 free throw attempts in the 8 minutes he plays this quarter. In general, the Rockets continued to attack the guard and big mismatch with Harden and Paul. I would say that Harden lit up Looney in isolation, with CP3 chipping in. That being said, if the Warriors were able to force the pass or withstand the first drive from either of the two, the Rockets generally failed to convert, resulting either in a shot clock violation or a terrible shot. You might be surprised to find out that the Warriors also based their offense on isolating the weak link after Curry and Durant returned. One common trend I noticed throughout this game, not just this quarter, is that Curry was able to blow by Harden on the drive quite often. Otherwise, the Warriors' offense in the half court was to exploit whatever mismatch they could get. That could mean Durant on a smaller player or Harden on Curry. As I've noted before, Thompson does end up wide open, and even Nick Young gets in on the action. Before we move on to the second half, I want to point out that at halftime, James Harden had 0 turnovers. By the end of the game, Harden had 4 turnovers. 3 of them were from drives to the basket, and 1 was from Curry reading the pass on the switch. I may be putting too much stock in a small sample size, but I think the Warriors' defensive philosophy coming into this series is that Harden and Paul cannot keep playing iso ball for the entire game without eventually putting up too many inefficient shots or turning the ball over. Does their strategy pay off? Let's see. They definitely get off to a good start in the third quarter, forcing this terrible shot from Tucker. Otherwise, however, it seems like they're unable to really contain Harden on his drives, and his two-man game with Capella proves to be difficult to stop. the Warriors nonetheless take advantage of a poor Rockets defense and maintain the lead. You may recall that I said Klay Thompson was left open often in this game. A lot of this has to do with the fact that Harden played poor defense this entire game, often failing to pay attention to his man or simply letting Curry drive right past him. It's at around the 6-minute mark that we see the Warriors' terrific transition offense in full effect. On a few of these, I was wondering where Harden was and had to look at the clips, and I've pointed out how far behind he is in some of these. The Warriors were even able to get 2 field goal attempts before Harden even crossed his own 3-point line. This lack of hustle from Harden is rather surprising given his defensive improvements in the regular season. I insist I'm not cherry-picking these either. When they weren't getting their buckets in transition, the Warriors would pass the ball to Kevin Durant. Strangely enough, the Warriors take a page out of the Rockets' playbook and attack the mismatch. In this quarter, he had a post up against Eric Gordon where he missed. Otherwise, he'd take Nene or Clint Capella off the dribble. He would go on to score 13 points on 11 field goal attempts and 2 free throws, which is about average in efficiency. There honestly isn't much to say about the fourth quarter. The Warriors continue to score the way they have been the whole game. They look for the open man in transition. If that option doesn't exist, they go to Kevin Durant. As I've said before, Klay Thompson ends up wide open on some of these possessions. The Rockets cannot keep giving up these kinds of looks if they want to come out on top. The Rockets also continue attacking whatever mismatch they can get, but we start to see their offense fall apart a little bit here. Chris Paul looked tentative in this quarter, relying maybe a little too much on Cole Baamute and Nene. Keep in mind that Paul made all 3 of his field goals this quarter when the game was basically out of reach, with the Warriors maintaining a double-digit lead with fewer than 2 minutes remaining in the game. I've seen some comments about how efficient the Warriors are and how inefficient the Rockets are. Frankly, I don't think offense from either team was the real key in the Warriors' win. Rather, I think it was poor defense from the Rockets that led to their demise. There were too many wide open looks for Klay Thompson, and Stephen Curry blew by James Harden too many times to count. It's clear that even if PJ Tucker plays good defense against Durant, KD is still going to get his buckets. I'm actually wondering what the Rockets can do to at least slow down Durant to a manageable level. If you have any suggestions for the Rockets on how to lock down KD, tell me in the comments. Otherwise, the Rockets need to take either the Curry drives or the wide open Thompson looks away. They cannot give up both and expect to win. I want to give a quick shout out to my one and only subscriber, NovaX. Thank you, NovaX. You're the best. You are the beginning of my channel. If you like what you saw in this video, please hit that like button and subscribe. Hit the notification button so you can find out right away when I put up a new video. If you have any suggestions or requests, please tell me.